My name is Dr. Sylvia Greenwood, and I am the interim associate superintendent of Human Resources. I would like to welcome you to our first Human Resources workshop. We are so excited that you have decided to participate in this workshop. The purpose of the workshop is to inform individuals about the process of becoming a substitute teacher and to recruit individuals to work in our district with our students. There will be a lot of useful information that will be shared this evening. Next up, we will have our agenda. We've given our welcome, and I hope you feel welcome. We will have teaching and a day in the life of a teacher, subbing, day in the life of a sub, credentials and the credentialing, what West Contra Costa programs we offer, and then a little bit about the classified team. And next up, we have Mr. Eldridge, and he'll introduce himself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juwan Eldridge. I'm the interim director of human resources for our West Contra Costa Unified School District. I'd like to again welcome everybody here. This is a workshop and we want to hear from everybody. So we've provided QR codes. We know we're not going to be able to answer every question inside our workshop, but we do want to hear from everybody. So we have a participation feedback QR code that we'd love for you to fill out to provide us information and feedback and any questions that you might have. And also we know that everybody who here is interested in joining the West Contra Costa Unified School District's team. And so we wanted to provide a QR code that directly links you to our EdJoin application process. So next up, I'd like to introduce Ms. Christine Hatcher. She's one of our illustrious principals from Riverside Elementary School, and one of her teachers, Arlen Mendoza, who's another illustrious first-year teacher at Riverside Elementary School.
Well, thank you, Mr. Eldridge. Let's hope Arlen and I can live up to that stellar introduction. Again, my name is Christine Hatcher. I'm principal at Riverside Elementary School. I've had the great honor of working here in West Contra Costa Unified School District for now, this is my 9th year at Riverside. We're going to kind of start off with words from one of the teachers at my site, Amina Meyer Musa. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but when she gave this quote to me, what really resonated with me, and I hope that those of you that are here can appreciate this, that around our students, that the awe of the world inspires every day, and helping them express what they are passionate about gives us great life. We love it, and we recommend teaching, right, if it calls to you. And I think that is the thing. It is an honor to teach. That's not to say that it's not hard work, but we get to be part of discovery for young people every day, and we don't take that for granted. Teaching is not playing with kids. Teaching is facilitating, cultivating interests. We get to be part of, like, again, their discovery. And hopefully what we are doing is inspiring them to become lifelong lovers of learning. Teaching and learning is a reciprocal relationship. As students learn from us, we learn from our students. And again, we do not take the responsibility lightly, and we understand that we are tasked with serving that which is of greatest importance and preciousness. Kids, the parents trust us with their students. Arlen Mendoza, who is newer to the profession, we have the great fortune of having her with us at Riverside Elementary. So she and I are just going to engage in kind of a brief conversation around her experience coming into the profession and what she is finding as she has become a teacher, scholar, practitioner in education. Hey, Arlen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Arlen Mendoza. Most of my students, or all of my students, call me Miss Arlen. I am teaching 5th grade at Riverside with My principal being Christine Hatcher, and she is great. Yeah, let's get started with that conversation.
What did you, well, thank you for saying I'm great. Okay, so Starbucks
But I
tomorrow
was great
for
too.
you, star student, Starbucks tomorrow for you. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So just a little bit, we actually met at a job fair. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I was kind of scouring the EdJoin applicants that had applied to the district, and I gave you a call. And you were like, I'm going to be at the job fair tomorrow. So our first face-to-face meeting was at the job fair. Did you find that that was helpful? I mean, you applied, but did you find that the job fair was actually helpful in terms of like not just putting faces and names together, but just maybe like the vibe of what you would be getting into and coming into West Contra Costa Unified?
Yeah, so I had been to maybe one job fair before. I went to the West Contra Costa one. And as soon as I walked into the West Contra Costa one, I was like, man, I'm really liking the diversity of people who are here. I felt like it's just where I wanted to be. And that's why I moved to the Bay. I really wanted to be in a place where it was like reflective of like what I look like and what my students would be looking like. But yeah, I applied through EdJoin and then ended up going to that job fair. And it was a really simple process, I think. And I had a great time like meeting you, of course, and you were the first person I interviewed with, and you gave me that job. So thank you for that one.
The first, yes. So after, because I think it was a pretty straightforward process, right? You came, we had conversation, an informal but telling interview, handed you off to the certificated staff from HR. They were very efficient in that. And coming into the district in a more formal way, coming to the site, are you finding that you are being supported in your practice? One of the things we know is integral to like sustaining the life of teachers is collaboration, and fit is super important. So just a little bit, I think, about what you have experienced, what you are experiencing, and even if there are any challenges in that.
Yeah, so I mean, in any new experiences, there are challenges. But I found that I fit really well within Riverside. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little too young and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything. And so I do tend to ask a lot of questions, and everyone is super open to answering my questions. I feel really comfortable in my environment, and I think that's reflective of like West Contra Costa, because everyone I meet within HR or anywhere else, anyone I deal with is really kind. We'll talk about this, I think, later in the meeting, but right now I am in TIP, which is the Teacher Induction Program through West Contra Costa. And I was paired up with a mentor teacher who is another fifth grade teacher. So we both teach fifth grade, and she's been teaching for a lot of years, and I'm like the baby teacher. So I think combining us is really, really great and really helpful. And she's just fun. She makes me feel really comfortable about, my mistakes, and there are many of them. But I think as a person, you're a lifelong learner. Everyone's learning, and everyone's going to know something that you don't know. So I feel really great and really appreciative of like everyone who's helping me. It's a really good environment.
Yay. I don't know if there are any other Riverside folks here, but they should be feeling pretty good right now. Maybe a little bit, because, it's not roses every day, right? So what do you find maybe as what has been challenging, I think, in making that transition from like student teaching, which you did, I think, which actually was super helpful in terms of preparing you for not just the planning of the academic pieces, but it really coming and being part of a community. But what are some of the challenges you have found in making that transition?
I think in making the transition, I think the hardest thing is to make, I really wish there was more time in the day is what it was. I really want to do the best for my students. And sometimes I do find myself, struggling to like keep up because things happen so fast. We're already mid-October and I'm freaking out because like we already have our parent-teacher conferences soon, and I'm just like, okay, well, what's gonna happen, you know? But it's like a normal freaking out because I know there's gonna be people to help me. So it's like I'm fine, but also not fine. It's like a constant battle. It's like I know what I'm doing. Wait, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's still exciting. You know, this is what I wanted, and I think it's very much rolling with whatever's coming through. It's exciting, but it's tiring. I'm tired.
You know, I think you're right. It is a roller coaster, and I think when we become complacent about it, or when we become very blasé about what we're doing, then maybe we've lost a little bit of the magic around teaching. Like, I want to reiterate that it is not an easy thing to do, but that doesn't mean that it isn't worthwhile. So I would encourage all of you who are here tonight, who are just interested in learning more about it, wanting to know if you're a good fit, you come on in and try it. Find opportunities to get to schools, to talk to other folks. Arlen and I will be here, I guess, through the duration of this presentation. If there are like any specific questions that you have for either one of us, I think we will try and answer those to the best of our ability. But we would encourage, I would encourage, and I think Arlen would agree with me, again, that it is worthwhile. Teaching is a worthwhile thing to do. And we hope that you'll be joining us in our practice soon. Thank you.
And now I think we're just going to talk about subbing, which is also what I did, and it was also exciting.
So good evening again. Substitute teaching. Our substitute teachers are essential to the smooth operation of our schools. They ensure continuation of instruction when a teacher is unavailable to teach for a day. They provide appropriate supervision and maintain a safe learning environment for all of our students. And substitute teachers are able to work in diverse environments and provide positive outcomes for our student success. So the day in the life of a sub. Before an assignment, they'll receive text or email with a link about vacant assignments for the day. The assignment will include the site, the subject, the name of the teacher, the length of the assignment, any special reporting or instructions that go along with the assignment, the day or the arrival at the assignment site. Our substitute teachers will arrive at the school and they'll stop with the secretary's desk at the main office. They'll pick up any keys, a teacher folder, the schedules for the day, and any special instructions that may be happening during that day while they're at the assignment. And then during the assignment, we're asking that all of our great substitute teachers greet the students when they're first welcoming in, when they walk in the door, that they, again, write any instructions on the board that were left by the teacher, and then just follow the lesson plan that was provided to them. And then our substitute expectations. Professional behavior must be displayed at all times. So we need to role model the behavior that we want to see back from our students. Again, we want to adhere to the lesson plans that are provided in order to continue that continuation of that instruction or that curriculum that's being taught, so that students don't lose a day of instruction. And then we want to maintain a safe learning environment by providing the appropriate supervision at all times for all of our students. And just a plug for subs, I actually started out as a substitute as well. So being able to see and see how valuable and influential I was would help me move on to becoming a teacher. And now we're going to move on and we're going to hear from Kyra, Mackenzie, and Lisbeth about credentialing.
Here are some credential terms that we will be using throughout the videos. CTC. It stands for Commission of Teacher Credentialing. BSR stands for Basic Skills Requirement. CBEST, California Basic Skills Test. COC, Certificate of Clearance.
Next, we'll discuss credentialing for both teachers and substitutes, which is an important component for being authorized to teach. Let's go over some of the basics. The first step in the credentialing process is having a bachelor's degree. Though this step is crucial, there are more steps you need to adhere to as well. You'll have to meet the basic skills requirements to be credentialed as a teacher. This slide covers a few of the steps required to meet these basic skill requirements. Scoring a 37 on the California Basic Education Skills Test, also known as CBEST, tests you in math, English, and writing. Another way to obtain this basic skills requirement is scoring the benchmark scores listed here for either the SAT or the ACT. You can also take the California State University exams or the CSU exams. Additionally, qualified coursework gets you closer to this basic skills requirement, or a combination of coursework and the California Basic Education Skills Test. Continuing this road to become a credentialed teacher, you'll have to meet the California Subject Examinations for Teachers, also known as SCSET. You can meet the subject exam requirement for the California Educator Credentialing Test, which is also known as CSET, or for your major taken for your bachelor's degree. The credentialing test would need to be completed in the subject area you're interested in teaching in, such as math or English. And the coursework for your bachelor's would similarly need to be within the teaching subjects of interest. Next, we'll discuss teacher credential programs. Credential programs are typically the final stage of how you obtain your teacher credential. This is where you prepare to become a teacher in the subject and school setting types of interest. We'll discuss 3 types of credentials listed here on this slide. The single subject credential is typically required for middle school and high schools. It allows the credentialed holder to teach in designated grades as well as designated subjects. Secondly, the multiple subject credential is generally used in elementary school settings and allows the credentialed holder to instruct designated grades for a self-contained classroom. A self-contained classroom means that the same group of students is taught multiple subjects by one educator throughout the day. The last credential we'll focus on is the Education Specialist Teaching Credential. This credential allows the educator to teach in special education classrooms. The credential holder is allowed to provide special education services within the disability that is authorized by the credential authorization. Now that we've covered credential for teachers, we'll shift to credentialing for substitutes.
Hi, my name is Lisbeth Mazariegos, and earlier you were learning about teaching credentials. Now we're going to move on to substitute permits. So for substitute permits, we have 2 different types of permits. It's going to be the emergency 30-day permit and the prospective substitute teacher permit. There is a difference between the 2. One is qualified with the BA and one is in the process of a BA. Other differences between the permits is that one, you could substitute all year long, and one only gives you a permit for 90 days within a whole school year to sub in for a teacher. Now we're going to dive into the process on how to receive a 30-day permit. First step would be doing research. Second step would be getting your fingerprints. Third step would be getting your transcripts and making sure you qualify for the BSR. Fourth step would be getting recommended by your employer. Fifth step would be going into the CTC, applying for the fees, and receiving your 30-day permit. When doing your research, if you qualify for the 30-day permit, you will need a bachelor's degree and qualify for the basic skills requirement with the reading, writing, and math portion. Other portions that could be satisfactory for the basic skills requirement would be the CBEST, SAT, and ACT. Step 2 and 3 of the process. You would acquire your fingerprints through a LiveScan. You will also acquire official transcripts, making sure that it has the conferral date on your bachelor's degree. You will also make sure that your basic skills requirements are also in place. That would be being with the coursework or any test scores like the CBEST or the ACT or SAT. And make sure that you apply for the 41-4 form online or a paper application. Step 4 and 5 of the process. Once your application is complete, your employer will recommend you for the 30-day permit. The next step as an applicant would be to log into the CTC and complete the processing piece. Once the CTC goes over your application, they will grant you your 30-day permit. If it has not been approved, it will have a pending evaluation and it will ask you for furthermore information to grant your 30-day permit. This is the application process to receive a 30-day permit. Now we're going to learn about the emergency permit for prospective teachers. The process is going to be very similar to the 30-day emergency permit, except the research of step 1 and the transcripts and BSR forms of step 3 will look a little bit different. We'll dive in that in the next slide. Going a little bit further more into the eligibility criteria for the emergency prospective teacher permit. In this case, you will need an AA degree or 90 semester units to complete the basic skills requirement. This will also mean that you will need a verification of current enrollment in order to be eligible for the prospective teacher permit. Step 2 and 3 of the process. Very similar to the 30-day permit, you will need to acquire your fingerprint scans. You will need official transcripts with the minimum of 90 semester units of coursework. You will need also verification of your current enrollment of your college or university. You should also meet the basic skills requirement. That will be with coursework or with any test scores. And make sure to fill out the 41-4 application online or paper. Step 4 and step 5 of the process is very similar to getting your 30-day permit. Once your application is complete, your employer will recommend you for your permit. You will log into the CTC and complete the processing piece. Once your permit has been granted, you will receive an email, or if you will need more information to receive your permit, the CTC will ask for more info. That is it for substitute permits.
So we've discussed teacher credentialing, we've discussed sub-credentialing, you've looked through some things and you decided, yes, I definitely want to continue and move forward being a teacher or sub. Awesome. The next thing we're going to talk about is WCCUSD hiring process for the certificated side. So the number one thing that we want you to do is to apply via EdJoin. Once you apply via EdJoin, and if you qualify, you will hear from HR and they will schedule an interview with you. Once that's complete, then you will have an interview with a school administrator. Once that's complete, if approved, you will receive a conditional offer letter. From there, you will be onboarded and then you will discuss the start date.
Welcome and thank you for joining us. We would love for you to join our community and are here to share about the different teacher support programs available to you in WCCUSD. In WCCUSD, we are here to support you wherever you are on this continuum. Perhaps you're thinking about becoming a teacher and looking for the right credential program for you. Perhaps you're already in a credential program and ready to jump into your career. Or maybe you've completed a program already and are ready to step into the classroom. Or at the end of the spectrum, perhaps you've had several years or more of teaching experience and are continuing to look for leadership and growth opportunities. One exciting aspect of being an educator is that the journey never ends and there's always more to learn and ways to grow your practice. No matter where your entry point is in WCCUSD, we are here to support you in your journey to grow as an effective educator and teacher leader. If you're interested in starting a credential program, We have the West Contra Costa Teacher Residency Program, which has two different pathways. One is earning your Education Specialist credential with Cal State East Bay, and the other pathway is earning your multiple or single subject credential with Holy Names University. In the residency, you will partner with a mentor teacher for an entire year as you conduct your coursework. Through grant funding, your tuition is paid for, and you are guaranteed employment with WCCUSD upon completing your residency. For more information on how to join this community, visit bit.ly/WCCTR-info. If you are currently in a credential program and interested in teaching in your own classroom at the same time, we have the Teacher Support and Assistance Program, known as TSAP. TSAP matches you with a mentor who provides you individual support, including guidance and assistance with your credential requirements. TSAP is a valuable opportunity to connect with colleagues and receive additional forms of support through PD workshops, observations, and collaboration. Once you complete your credential program, you will hold your preliminary credential and continue receiving support through the Teacher Induction Program.
Once you receive your preliminary credential, you are eligible to join the Teacher Induction Program, or TIP. TIP is a 2-year program that pairs you with an experienced teacher who serves as your support provider, much like a mentor. Through weekly collaboration with your support provider, you'll build your instructional skills through setting goals, planning lessons, and reflecting on student learning outcomes. TIP is very much a job-embedded program, building on the practices of effective teaching. Your support provider is usually someone who teaches the same or similar grade or subject and will coach and guide you through these first 2 years of your career. You will be able to engage in professional development and even observe others as part of that professional learning. TIP is an authentic and meaningful way to not only satisfy the state credentialing requirement, but to build lasting habits of mind in your instructional practice that will have a lasting impact on student learning. Best of all, it's a free program to candidates. At the end of the 2 years, you are eligible to apply for a clear credential with the CTC. Once a teacher finishes the TIP program, they will earn their clear California credential. Yet there are additional ways teachers can continue to grow, learn, and lead. Being a TSAP mentor or TIP support provider is one avenue which allows you to build relationships with new teachers and guide them in their first 2 years of teaching. Other leadership opportunities include site-level leadership like instructional coaches, literacy leads, or tech teacher leaders. WCCUSD also has a program to support teachers seeking to pursue National Board Certification, a distinguished certification that recognizes and acknowledges excellence in teaching and includes a yearly stipend too. To summarize, the credentialing journey has several paths as outlined in this visual representation of the way our programs work together. From starting in a teacher residency program to short-term credential support in TSAP, to TIP induction, and to leadership opportunities beyond, teachers have many opportunities to grow and build a lasting career in our district. We are here to support you at all stages of your teaching journey in WCCUSD. Please reach out to teachersupport@wccusd.net with any questions about our new teacher programs. Thanks for listening.
So we wanted to make sure that you had credential program resources. So we offered several that we know of that we have partnerships with, so that you could, if you're interested in becoming a teacher or entering a program, that you would have these resources available for you. So we have that in the slide deck this evening that we'll be sharing. And now I'd like to introduce you to one of my wonderful colleagues, Dr. Scott from the classified side, and she's going to be talking about classified employment opportunities.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Janet Scott, and I am the Director of Classified Employees, in West Contra Costa Unified School District. And while we've learned a lot about certificated staff and the importance of understanding what it takes to become a teacher or a substitute, it's also important to know that classified staff play a very important role in supporting the education of our students and supporting school districts overall. So if you're not interested in working to support schools and support us as a teacher, think about joining us in the classified field. Classified positions are non-certificated, and generally they are support staff at schools or in the district offices, such as clerical support staff, secretaries, office managers, custodians, business services, accounting, techs, also food service, our food service workers, and we have a number of vacancies as well, supporting special education in the role of paraprofessionals, or maybe you know of them as teacher aides. And we plan to have opportunity to dig in and talk more about the hiring process and the opportunities to grow in West Contra Costa in this field. And we have planned another phase of this important outreach to our community, where we can spend some time talking a little bit more deeply and take a deep dive into those fields, the positions that we have open, and how to apply for those. Again, a lot of our positions for the district, you apply on EdJoin. The process is similar. Once the application has been screened, you will be contacted for an interview and for whichever position that you apply, but we'll have more information about that. A couple of fun facts about why we feel that classified is a very integral part of the process of schooling. Did you know that we, all during the pandemic, provided meals to our families and community? So not just the students and their families, but also to our community. We served well over 10 million meals during that 2-year period. So if you want to give back, if you have a sense of social justice, come on and join us. And if you're not thinking about working as a teacher, join us on the classified team. Thank you.
And if you see the QR codes come back up again, we want you to take part in our feedback survey, and also the QR code to apply on EdJoin, and you can see our classified and our certificated positions that are open currently. And we just want to thank you. We have finished early, but we have a Q&A period for people to ask questions. And at this time, I really would like to, before we start the questions, really thank the Human Resources team, because this is the first time we've done a workshop like this. And it took a lot of hours, and we worked tirelessly to get this workshop done. And so I appreciate their time and their talents to get this done. And so thank you, thank you, thank you, Human Resources team. I really appreciate all that you've done to pull this together. And at this time, we will take questions. And I thought I saw a hand.
Dr. Greenwood, I see one from Michael Asamoah. Michael, are you still on the call? He's asking, what about if you have out-of-state teaching license? Do you still need to have a California teaching license?
Well, we have reciprocity with states, and so we would have to review your credential to see what we would need to make it applicable to California requirements. And so we could set up an appointment with our credentialist to review what you have currently. And also I wanted to give a shout out to Trustee Smith-Foles for always supporting our department. And I also want to give a shout out to our president of one of our unions, Jose De Leon, for being on. Thank you both.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Greenwood. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Scott. Thank you, everyone. We're a special place to work. Come on down. Come on down to WCCUSD. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
And it looks like we have a raised hand from Mr. Joseph Johnson.
Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Johnson, would you like to speak? Come off mute.
Okay, I took myself off mute because it said it earlier that I couldn't speak, so I didn't change it. I just have one question. I'm an experienced a teacher, credentialed with master's degrees, and I just need to know how much do you remunerate subs?
What do you mean remunerate subs?
That means how much do you pay them?
Oh, we pay $250 a day and $280 for long-term subs.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have another question from Josie.
Mm-hmm.
Josie, would you like to speak it, or I can just say it out loud? Okay. She said, I hold a pedagogy diploma from Brazil. What should I do to validate it?
I would have to send her the information. There's a service that we have to have international transcripts done for the United States. And then and then there's a process where we have to have a visa. And so we'd have to look into that. So that would be probably an appointment or a conversation with Mr. Eldridge.
Okay, thank you. And we have a question from Miss Marie Brown. If you want to come off mute.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, I had a question about paychecks, I guess. Yeah. So for new hires, do they receive their first paycheck at the end of that first month? So if you're hired for August 1st, August 31st, are you getting paid, or would we have to wait till September 31st to get a check?
Most likely September 31st because of the processing.
Okay, thank you.
And also depends on the time when you start.
And typically, when does the school district start?
We start in the end of August, generally.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Jose Montes de Doca. If you want to come off mute. Otherwise, I can also read it. So Jose is asking, he has a bachelor's degree and a master's from Spain and the credential evaluation from West. Does he need the CBEST?
We would need to see his transcript first to be able to answer that question. So he could make an appointment with Mr. Eldridge to review it. He has an unofficial, because we still need an unofficial. I mean, official.
Okay, we have a question from Nova. What kind of support can WCCUSD provide for teachers with disabilities?
We would have to have a meeting to discuss that offline, but we would provide support.
Does anybody have any more questions for Dr. Greenwood, Jawan, anyone who presented tonight?
Mr. Eldred, I believe, put his email in the chat.
It looks like we have a question from Pedro. How do we set up a meeting with your credential department to review our credentials and determine next steps?
And you can call 510-231-1186, and that's with our HR clerk, and she can set up the appointment with Mr. Eldridge side of the office to do that. You were contacted by HR to do your fingerprints today to become a substitute. What's the next steps? You will be contacted by Miss Lizbeth on the next steps. You need to wait for your fingerprints to clear.
Dr. Greenwood, do prospective folks who want to take the CBEST, is it still through ETS, Educational Testing Service?
Yes, it is.
That was one of the questions. Okay.
I'm seeing them fly so fast.
I will drop that in there. I hope I'm pronouncing Miss Hardiman. I'll put that. It's Educational Testing Service, but I'll put it in the chat.
And like we said, we will be posting this to our website in a day or two, so you can have access to it and see the resources. But you can also email us at hr@wccusd.net. And that is hr@wccusd.net. Are there any more questions that we didn't catch?
Yes, I raised my hand. Is that okay?
Sorry, I didn't see it.
It's okay. I just did. My other question was about transferring your years of service from another district. What is the process to see if you accept them, or?
We do verification of employment.
Okay.
And we have a form that you can give the other district to fill out. And then they'll fill it out and send it back to us. And then we'll go through that process and let you know how many years of service we can give you. And we offer up to 15 years. Which will put you on the 16th year here.
Any more questions? Don't be shy.
Again, we want to say thank you for everybody coming out. And we hope this information was useful to everyone and that you got something from it. And we look forward and hoping that you will apply for a position in our district or apply to a credential program and hopefully become a teacher in our district. So we thank you for coming out and listening to our presentation and workshop. If there's no more questions, we wish you to have a good evening and an enjoyable night.